What is up, guys? How's it going tonight? Marvel Madness here for Marvel Bros and Friends. Unfortunately, Sin City Cards and Comics, my cohort Alex isn't going to make it tonight. My apologies. He had some family stuff that he had to attend. So, without further ado, we're going to start the night here. I don't have too many pickups. I think I have one pickup. We won't spend much time on that. But without further ado, let's go ahead and start the show, and I'll bring in my guest here shortly. Hello, Michael.
Hey, Josh, how you doing?
Good. I am doing well.
Good.
So we have Michael MUNSHAW here, guys, as our special artist guest. He probably I'm gonna have you tell us a little bit about you, Michael. But first off, I just want to introduce him as someone that I actually got my very first sketch card purchase off of eBay. I had never owned a pack pulled sketch card until this card. This is actually the first card.
I didn't even know that was the first one.
It was for me. So it is special. I actually do have it up for sale, but I'm not going to let it go for. I'm not going to let it go.
Now you just ruined it.
I'm not going to let it go.
You ruined the moment.
For that's where the thing of it is I have a lot of my cards up for sale, but they're ridiculously high. So if they did sell, I'd let you know. Hey, my card just sold for this, Michael. Here's a little kickback.
Yeah. I don't know. I felt like we were having a moment there, and then it just got.
Hey, you know what? After tonight, I may actually just pull it down because it's
I shamed you into it.
Yeah. No, it's good. So tell us a little about yourself. I know a lot of people know you, Michael, in the community because you're so wonderful. But for those who don't know you, go ahead and tell us a little bit about your history and your background and go from there.
Yeah, and I apologize for those that have listened to other things that I've been on because this will be a little bit redundant. But as Josh and I were talking about before, there's a lot of new people coming into the community, and he's been nice enough to have me on so that I can just introduce myself and you guys can learn a little bit more about me. So anyway, way back in 2007, 2008, something around there, there was this little internet site called Comic Space. It was about the same time as MySpace, but it was for comic book art and comic book artists. So I started a page there. And then it was from there that Stephen Frank reached out to me, and he was doing a fundraiser for the March of Dimes. And he said, hey, I have these little cards, and I'm asking artists just to draw whatever they want to on these. Superheroes would be great. And then I'm going to auction them off for the March of Dimes fundraiser. So those were my very first foray into sketch cards. So way back then, I started with sketch cards. And from there, Steven started Fivefinity. I did some work for Fivefinity. Still do work for him now. He still reaches out. He's a good friend. But I've done work for Dynamite, Cryptozoic, Bianca Thompson's great group Artists Assembled, and then obviously Upperdeck and TOPPS. So I've been in sketch cards forever. There was a bit of time where probably 2012, 13, 14, somewhere around there, I stopped doing sketch cards. I just found that the people wanting the APs, it was all right, but it wasn't really worth my while. So then, as Jalen Warner likes to point out, 2017 was the big year. Yeah. And so I was at San Diego Comic-Con in 2016, and Zach from Upperdeck came over to my table, and I had a small little binder of sketch cards in there, just reproductions, a couple originals and stuff like that. and he was looking at that, and he said, "Hey, would you ever consider working for Upperdeck and doing some Marvel projects?" So of course I was like, "Well, yeah, why not?"
Yeah.
So then actually 2017 Marvel Premiere was my first official Marvel set with Upperdeck. And so then from a Marvel perspective, it was been Marvel Premiere and Masterpiece ever since then. Those are the two sets I've been working on. But then as of late, I can't give the actual projects, but there's many in the hopper. So it's been a while since I've worked on Marvel projects, but you're probably going to be sick of looking at my posts once these releases start coming out to the public.
Now there has been some mention and confirmation from some of the Upper Deck community reps that we will see a what is it the premiere there's going to be a new premiere set coming out.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if that's
and that's one that I'm actually not on.
Oh,
so
okay.
I can freely say
you can freely say you're not on
yeah,
that.
I'm not on that one. So.
All right, well that's good. But no, there's some pretty banger sets coming down the line. I mean, obviously the masterpiece ones are coming. We know of 2022 masterpieces that's technically going to be 2023 or 2024. I don't know. And then there are 2 more years later. It's either going to be 2024 masterpieces or 2025 masterpieces, but it'll probably all say on the actual cards, since you guys have worked on them several years past, that the actual 2022 or 2024 masterpieces, I'm sure. So my guess are a couple of those, but I won't have you admit to that. But
it's a weird industry. It's a weird industry that we can't push it until it's out. So.
Exactly. No, I understand that. So.
But yeah, so no, I've been, and then, in between that, I was an art director over at, what is Chuck Sellers comic company, which, why is it escaping me?
I'm not sure.
So anyway, I dabbled in some comic work, did some inking for some Westerns that they were doing over there for Visionary Comics. Oh my goodness. See, it's just so late. My brain froze, but art director over Visionary Comics. And I also did some inking for their Dead Man's Hand short stories that they did. So I worked with Chuck for a number of years. I still hang out with him now and then. We do Comic Cons together. So I've been here and there just about the whole time.
Okay.
Always trying to keep busy doing something.
Yeah, that's awesome. Have you done any DC work?
So I did DC Bombshells for Cryptozoic.
Okay, that I was thinking Cryptozoic was DC, but I didn't know.
Which was that was a number. Was that 2020 maybe even 2019? But so that was that. But Cryptozoic, I also did work with Rick and Morty, Archer, Steven Universe. Yep. So those were the 4 that I worked on there. Rick and Morty was a blast. So
yeah, no, I bet.
Yeah.
Do you have any of the stuff handy to show, or
no? That's gone. That's long gone. I still get people that will reach out to me and say, "Hey, I know the answer is probably no, but do you have any Rick and Morty originals?" And I'll be like, "No, sold out." Long ago.
I think what Michael likes to do is he makes his masterpieces and his work, but he likes to put it into collectors' hands and have them enjoy the art.
Well, yeah, that's the idea. That is the idea. There's
all right.
With Rick and Morty.
Talk me into it. I'm gonna keep it.
Oh, stop! I didn't mean to shame you into it. You can still stop. But yeah,
you really didn't though. Like I've actually been teetering back and forth. I actually.
Oh, this is embarrassing. What do you do when the host freezes up?
I had it up. Oh, sorry. I had it up for sale, but I don't anymore.
But yeah, with when you were talking about eBay and the Rick and Morty, it just made me think of something funny that I had put some of my APs for sale on eBay of the Rick and Morty cards, and I think I had one left or something like that. And a guy reached out to me, and apparently didn't know that I was the artist on the set. Because
Oh,
in the comment to me, he was like, "Do you think you might mark this card down? You know, this guy's really good, and the style is great for Rick and Morty, but he's done too many. There's too many out there, so I don't think it's really worth what you're asking."
that's funny. Ken, my friend, he actually mentioned he has some DC Bombshell cards
Oh, cool!
and he really loves the art.
Awesome.
So that is really awesome.
Yeah, that was, when I first did those, I think it was 4 APs or 5 APs that I got on that set, and I was shocked how fast they went. When you work on a new property, you never know. Well, you have somewhat of an idea, but I had no idea with DC Bombshells what to even expect. But I was just so happy that Cryptozoic asked me to work on a DC property. So I was like, all right, check mark DC. That I was just happy to do it. But then with the APs, I was like, I don't know if anybody's going to want these or not. But yeah, I think it was within 24 hours of the release that all of them were gone and being shipped out.
Well, I have one of those passions for DC as well, like not just Marvel. And I hope that someday they're able to do a Marvel Masterpieces DC set.
Oh, that would be cool. Yeah.
And Marvel's able to do some sort of partnership since Upperdeck might have that masterpiece they have the ownership of that actual set or whatnot, that they're able to actually bring in DC to have a masterpiece set. That would be really sweet, pretty cool. So
hi, carding people.
My wife says hi, guys.
Carding people.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
Ow.
All right.
Yours makes an appearance. Mine's hiding upstairs. She was afraid that.
He
goes, I promise not to make any noise. I won't make any noise.
I need something. Otherwise, I'm not making an appearance either.
only need something down here in the basement. So we had some questions back. What is your favorite character or characters? Let's start with just overall, and then what's your favorite character to draw in Marvel? So
boy. Yeah, I don't know if I really have any favorites per se that I'm like, oh yeah, I love drawing that. I think it's more of I enjoy exploring the different possibilities and different characters. So I'm always up for trying a new one or something like that. I don't know if I per se like, oh, I got to draw this or I got to do that. So I know that's a boring answer, but I don't think I have one. For Marvel, whenever we do draw Marvel, and I think I finally stopped myself, was Ghost Rider. And that just goes back to my art school days of when I was in college, we would drag out the skeleton and draw the bones and the different parts of the human anatomy and stuff like that. And so then with Ghost Rider, it's always a blast for me just to start drawing the human skull again. And then this time it's on fire with yellow and orange on the inside of it and a black leather jacket. So I do enjoy that. But I think I finally stopped. The last two sets that I can't talk about, I do not believe there's any Ghost Rider in there.
Okay.
But then I guess it was the last premiere set that I worked on that I discovered Cosmic Ghost Rider.
Oh, yeah.
He's in like the big tube and there's firing, and that was cool. So I enjoyed that.
Oh, that's nice. So you actually did a couple cards in premiere for that?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I have a kicker question for you. If Marvel asked you to do cards on an original art set, would you do that?
Oh, heck yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like my hope is sometimes these sketch card artists that don't get a lot of recognition, I guess, in the sets, that they're able to sometime Upperdeck be able to just hire them and do a whole set and kind of like a I don't know, some sort of set inspiration from what you guys have done in the past with sketch cards and all that, and you're able to actually be able to be part of, hey, we picked 8 sketch card artists throughout the years, and these sketch card artists are going to do original art on this one set, and be really cool to see something like that.
Oh yeah, no, that definitely would be. And I'm assuming then you would let me work larger than 2.5 inches by 3.5 inches.
That's right. That's what
I
I'm
can
saying.
actually
Yeah.
do larger, and then they can shoot it and reduce
Yes.
it. So yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
That would be cool.
Yeah.
I don't know if Dre's trying to troll you or
Oh,
anything.
he would never troll me. He would never do anything.
Why don't
like
you
that.
do more Squirrel Girl cards?
I do enough Squirrel Girl. He knows that. He's just jealous because I can draw the squirrel better than he can.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Nice. We got Sean Schubert, he's actually my nephew. He's 11, and he's actually started collecting Marvel cards, believe it or not. And he hasn't been introduced to a lot of sketch cards, I don't think. He's just learning about Marvel cards in general, because back in the 90s, Michael, I actually collected when I was 10 years old, when 1990 Marvel Universe came out.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's when I started collecting. And then my younger brother started collecting my cards as well. And it was at one point I had a paper route, and I actually I'm as old as paper routes.
I had one. I'm much older than you were, but I had paper route. Mine paid for comic books. So
and I had a paper route, and it paid for my Marvel cards and my candy that I had every week, and that's kind of one of the I guess some of the history that I had with my younger brother. He passed away in 2019.
Oh, I'm sorry.
So he's no longer with us, but he loved it as well. And so that's one of my passions. When after COVID happened and I got back into collecting, that's kind of where some of that passion came from, was my history with my brother.
So when you're an 11-year-old today and you want to start collecting cards, isn't it daunting? Like, they're so expensive. Like, how do you get somebody involved in that? And I've talked about it on other podcasts, on Marvel Card Collectors podcasts, that when I go to comic conventions, I have a binder of cards of my art that I just made digital copies of. Yeah. And I just sell them 3 for $5. And the idea is that's just for kids, that they can go through there and find a Flash or find a Captain America or an Iron Man, and they can at least have a card and maybe kindle, ignite something within them that maybe they want to start collecting. But, when I think of it now, how does an 11-year-old go about collecting now?
So let's just talk about my nephew, Kellen, for a little bit. So, Kellen, I actually reached out to. He liked Marvel. And so he actually found out that I was doing a YouTube channel. And he was so excited that I was doing something about Marvel. And then he saw that they were Marvel cards, and he didn't, what are these things, right? And so I told my sister that, and this was just right when Fleer Ultra Avengers came out, just this recent set, right? And well, Upperdeck is making blasters now, Michael. I don't know if you know, but they're
with the Fleer Ultra Avengers.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they made them with Marvel Annual. They have blasters for Marvel Annual, Fleer Ultra Avengers. And the Spider-Man Metal was the very first blaster that they started with. But my nephew Kellen, he actually started with Flare Ultra Avengers, and yeah, I actually reached out to my sister asking if she could get me some blasters, because here in Utah I couldn't find any, and so I told her to search for some. Well, after I told her to search for some, Kellen actually wanted some too, and so he started doing some. So he's actually done a total of like 12 to 13 blasters now.
Oh, holy cow!
Flare
Wow.
Ultra Avengers.
Okay.
And he's used some birthday money and some money from grandparents, and he's actually started that way. And so I think with your question, I think with Upper Deck continuing the ability for the retail side to do blasters, that's the best thing they could have done. That they should have started that years ago, so it would have just brought in that much more collectors in the retail side. So that's my thought.
Yeah, no, not, it's cool that, you can just step into Target.
Because there's no way he's going to buy a hobby box, one hobby
yeah, exactly.
for
I'm going to go online and
$400.
order from an online retailer a hobby box.
Yeah, because you get so many more cards with the blasters too, and it's just fun. So that was nice. So,
but yeah, no, it's just cool. You can walk into a Target and actually see it on a shelf and then be able to grab that and buy it. So.
Yeah, here in Utah, when the Spider-Man metal came out, I didn't see it only but once, and I bought all of them there, and I was able to give some to my kids as well as open some. And I did get a couple of my kids interested in some cards that way. I have a son that plays soccer, and he actually collects soccer cards as well. But he has his favorite characters like Thor and Venom and the symbiotes and all that stuff. But yeah, like to your point, to get more of the younger crowd, like what can we do to get more generations in? That's kind of the whole question that's all around, that we want to keep on, getting more generations in this.
Yeah, but no, I was glad to hear, even when you and I were just talking a couple minutes before we came on live, that you have seen an influx of new collectors.
Yeah.
So I'm glad to hear that, and that's always good to hear. We've had this larger discussion amongst our artists of collectors versus investors, if we want to refer to them as that. And obviously we love to see the collectors coming in, and we love this community. And when I first was introduced to the Marvel card community in 2017, it was just awesome that the feedback that I would get from people and just how everybody kind of knew each other, which I was like, oh my, this is a small community because so-and-so knows them, and they know this person's looking for this and this person's looking for that. But that was just really nice, and to learn about people and to meet collectors. And, to this day, I still have relationships with those collectors, that they still reach out for commissions and or asking me if I got anything coming up. So I would love to see more collectors into this community and watch it keep growing.
Well, and to add to that, just as a little thought process, I actually didn't come back into the hobby until after COVID again. So 2021, March of 2021, I found the Facebook group, the Marvel Card Collectors Worldwide that Ian has. And I found that group, and then I found Marvel Cards US as the second group. And those two groups actually got me into being able to learn about other collectors, which is a great part of that whole thing. I mean, I would say that some of the drama that does sometimes happen in there, to look past that and look at a lot of good people in those groups, I do want to say that Ian's great, and the way that he started that group was so awesome with Norrin and all that stuff. So it was a great thing. But what I wanted to add to that is I see the investor part of it, because when this whole thing happened with COVID, and then Marvel Cards just had a big boom with some of the auction houses. You're familiar with some of the graded cards that sold for quite a bit of money and everything. And so it got me more interested in the hobby again, because I was like, wait, my Marvel cards might be worth some money. And so I went ahead and I took out my Marvel cards. And what's really funny, Michael, is I took good care of my cards to the point where I don't even know why I took good care of them, like when I was a kid, but I'm so glad I did, because I've actually subbed some of my childhood cards recently, and I've gotten PSA 10s out of some of them.
Oh, wow.
I've
Holy
been able
cow.
to sell them, and they were
Huh.
in binders for years,
Yeah.
for 20 plus years. And what's funny is my wife said, when are you going to get rid of your Marvel card? Like, when are you going to get rid of those? Like, when we first got married, like, she's like, what are those? Like, why do you have those?
Yeah.
I'm like, well, they're from my childhood. I can't get rid of them, type of thing. Yeah. And I had some comics too, not just cards. And I told her, someday they'll be worth money. Someday they're going to come back, and they're going to be there, And after the COVID thing, I was just going, so you eating your words, Ash? Or to my wife. Yeah. And I'm just like, I was excited, and what I wanted to say is I understand the investment side. I understand them coming in, seeing that investment part. But what I've seen, Michael, which is actually pretty sweet, is a lot of these guys will start in coming in as an investor, but the more they look at these cards, the more they buy these cards, the more they fall in love with the art of these cards. And so I am fully support people coming in, whether you're an investor or not, because at some point or another, let's say half of them change their mind about the whole investing, flipping thing, and they look at it more as, wow, these cards are cool. I'm going to start collecting these cards. And that's what I've seen in some of the community and the YouTube and the Instagram is a lot of that happening. So I'm totally for investors joining a group, being part of that group, learning about the group, and then finally in their mind saying, you know what? A lot of these cards are pretty cool, and they kind of flip their mentality.
Oh, good. So. No, and obviously, we're going to see more and more investors come in, especially now that people have seen how Marvel cards are actually worth something now.
Yeah,
and that's fine. But I just want to make sure we're still bringing collectors in. Sure. And, that's where at least I, as an artist, see the joy in people when I post art or I post a card.
Yeah.
And they're just like, yeah, that's really cool. I really like that. Or if they commission me and they go, this is going to be a nice piece to add to my personal collection.
And I see that. And what I see is the evolution of once someone comes in, they start collecting these cards. A lot of them don't know about sketch cards. A lot of them are into sketch cards until they get collecting a little bit. And then they start seeing these sketch cards and they start seeing that, wow, these sketch cards are actually pretty special. They are one of ones, because a lot of them don't know that. And so I think it's all of a learning curve. And that's another reason that I have this YouTube channel is to basically educate people that there are these sketch cards that you can pull out of these boxes, and they're one of ones, and they're really awesome art pieces of art on a card. And a lot of sports guys that I've talked to, they think it's so cool if they open up a Marvel box and they get one of those sketch cards. They don't know anything about it. They don't know anything about the artist. They don't know if it's a good artist or a bad artist, or there's no bad artists out there, but they just don't know.
That's just it. It's if it appeals to them, that's all that matters. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter who drew it. Doesn't matter what the character is. If they pull it and they get joy from it, then that's all it needs to do.
But I hope having you on, artists like you, artists like Ash and Dre and JL Warner, artists like you guys, having you guys on, kind of showing a little bit about your kind of story and everything like that, and how a sketch card artist is. I mean, a lot of people don't know this, Michael, but Michael doesn't get paid a lot to do the sketch cards on these Upper Deck cards at all, guys. Like they're a few dollars a card. Like it's not a lot of money.
No.
But what they do get an ability for is once they do part of this set, they're given some what's called artist proof cards that they can actually take the artist proof card from that actual set. If you guys don't know this, and they can actually commission this card for an individual to put some sort of character on. Obviously, sometimes there's some parameters that Michael or other artists will give you, but for the most part, you tell him what kind of character you want, and he can tell you what he can draw on it, and you can actually commission these cards from them and pay them a commission, and that's how they make their money, guys. Is these commission cards? Some of the at least part of your income, not all of it.
It's the vast majority of it comes from the APs. It's all about the APs. That's
all about the APs.
Is getting those APs. But that was and what sets the Marvel community aside from like the Star Wars or the other communities is most of the time, like 90%, will not draw an AP and then just put it up for sale. What I do is wait for the set to be released, and then I'll enter the community on Facebook or on eBay and just say, I have X amount of blanks, commission me for these. And it's just wonderful that, so many collectors then are like, oh, I am a huge Wolverine fan. I want you to do an AP of Wolverine for me. And so then, that interaction that we get as artists with the collector, and then doing a card specifically made for them that they're asking for. That's very cool, as opposed to just like, what Marvel character do I feel like drawing and I think is going to sell? Oh, Squirrel Girl, because I know Dre will buy that if I put it up on eBay. So it's much nicer to enter the community and say, hey, I got blanks. What do you guys want? And that's just the fun part of it.
Yeah, and I'm looking forward to that, and I hope I'm able to get one of those from you when those sets come out, depending on the set. So, able to do that. So there's a few artists coming in and just having fun with you here. But they're saying, do we get paid actually for this?
They don't get paid. I get paid. They don't get paid. They wish they got paid.
Oh gosh. So that's awesome.
And that's another thing too, is one of the great things, about doing this is everybody that I've met on the art side of it. So many great friendships have been made with artists, and you've mentioned a bunch of them already. And just that, we chat almost daily. I think sometimes I talk to them more than I talk to my sons. And it's just great that we can commiserate together. We can pat each other on the back, or that we can help each other. If we get stuck on something, we'll post, we'll send a pic out and just say, what's wrong with this? I'm looking at it and I know it's wrong, but I can't quite put my finger on it. And then that just opens the door to a lot of harassment. But once you get through the harassment, then we do actually give each other some decent advice as to how to fix that card or move forward with it. So it's great.
Yeah, you guys are all peers. You kind of rag each other, but in the end, you come together.
Yeah, no, it's been great. It's been great.
Tony's a good one too. Tony Perna.
I hate Tony though. I got to admit, God bless that man. Every time he posts cards, I always put the same comment. I was just like, how do you get all that detail on a 2.5 by 3.5 inch piece of paper? I don't understand it. I don't know how he does it. It's mind blowing the amount of detail that man.
A huge magnifying glass.
Yeah, it's got it. I don't know.
I see. You have your one of your workbenches, if not the workbench in the back.
Yep.
There.
Yes, sir. Yep.
That's awesome.
Yep. One of them. I'm bending the wrong way, but anyway,
you're good.
So I got two different. I have two different art tables. The one behind me, that's where I do most of my marker work, all my pencil and ink work and stuff. And and then I have one over here that my cat is sleeping on that I'll do the painting work on.
Yeah.
So
I see all your markers there too. Those
yes.
are,
Yep.
the special markers.
So yeah, and it's I struggle right now trying to figure out what media to use on these cards. You know, when we first started with sketch cards, I was doing black and whites back in 2008, 2009, black and white. And we were just like, yeah, that's pretty cool. We love that. And then all of a sudden people are like, oh, can you do color? And I was like, oh, how the hell are you going to do that? And so then started to buy a couple of color markers here and there, and then build up a little bit of a marker collection. And then everything needed to be in color. And so then we did, you know, so then that's when I discovered Prismacolor markers and then Copic markers, and some other manufacturers. And then you try to figure out which one works and doesn't work. But then, you know, people like Dre came in, and he's painting cards.
Yeah.
And you're like, whoa, that's like a whole nother level. And, you know, and then Jay jumped on that and he's painting cards. So I've started to paint cards with watercolors. I've done a couple of acrylic and stuff like that. But it's a struggle for me all the time to figure out what path to take. And due to the fact that the deadlines on these are not always the easiest. So what you got to then look at speed and what's fastest. And for me, at least, markers, I'm much faster with markers than I am with painting. You know, I wish I could get more into paint and do more of a painted card, but the time that it takes to do one, you know, and if you got a deadline of 70 cards coming up, then I'm going to be like, it's markers all day long.
Yeah, no, I bet. I know, with, I guess I go back to the story of, do you know the 2020 Marvel Black Diamond, the 2021 Marvel Black Diamond?
I know that it's a card set.
Okay. So that set came out. I bought one box, right?
Those are like premium price.
Yeah,
cards.
they were like close to 400, close to $450 per box. I think on ePack they went down to like 350 or 400. But the only box that I bought of the Black Diamond, I pulled a sketch card out of that one box that I bought. And it was Mick and Matt Glebe sketch.
Oh yeah.
And you know.
Yep.
And I reached out to him after I pulled it, and I had a conversation with it was I believe it was a Matt that I had a conversation with. And I didn't know that both of them, one's left-handed, one's right-handed, and they both work on the card. It's crazy how they do it.
Yeah.
And I asked him what medium he worked on, because when I pulled that card out, I thought it was a canvas card. Like, I thought the card was like this special canvas insert. I didn't even know it was a sketch card the way it was looking. And it had texture to it and everything. So I reached out to him. It's like, what did you use on this? Oh, we used about 9 different mediums.
Yeah.
I'm just like, wow. Well, that's what you need to do, Michael, is you just need to use.
Oh, sure. Just do, you know, because I got so much time and, you know, I just want to put, you know, more hours into one single card. So let's just do all sorts of different mixed media.
Oh, it's funny. No, it's good. So, hey, I wanted to ask you a couple other questions, Michael. And then if there's any questions in the chat, please ask them, guys. While we're talking to Michael. How young were you when you had the desire to draw? Did it start when you were tiny?
Jeez, yes. So it was around middle school. We moved all around growing up. My dad would get promoted all the time, so we would move every 2 to 3 years to a different place. And so then it was during middle school that during one of our moves that the neighborhood that we moved into, there were some kids my age, and they collected comic books. Okay. And that was the first time I really saw a comic book. We could go to the local drugstore. They had the spinner rack, and we could poke through there and find something and put our hard-earned 25 cents down and buy a title. But anyway, so that's when I first learned about comic books and started looking at that. And then that's when, just like any other kid, you want to be creative and do things. And so that's when I first started to draw my own superheroes, or start to copy what I would see within the comic book itself. So that was in middle school. So then I didn't really take it seriously, but I was, doodling and stuff like that in school. And then a couple of my friends said, have you ever really thought about being an artist or drawing comic books? And that was the first time I really thought about it. So that was in middle school. So,
Nice.
all during high school, I took as many art classes as I could. At the one high school we were at, all the art classes were in one wing. And my buddies would always say, are you ever going to come into the rest of the school? Because you always just spend your whole time down in the art wing when you're going to come out and actually go to other classes.
Yeah.
So I've been drawing ever since I've been 9, 10, 11 years old.
Well, that's cool. That is neat. See, I had a passion about that time too myself. I did sketches just with pencil all the time myself. And I got into it. I myself at that age, I felt I did really well. I at least had 2 or 3 different notepads that I still have to this day. I don't show people. But I did have those. And I just never really went past probably junior high-ish. I just kind of fell out of it, where my sister, she actually kept on going. And my sister's pretty good at, she's done some oil paintings professionally for people, just some commissions here and there, but now she doesn't do it because she's got kids. I wanted to get back into it. So I got back into it like when I was 21, 22, just drawing girlfriends, just drawing like characters that I liked and all that stuff, just sketches, right, with pencil. That's it. And so myself, I never got formal training like a lot of you guys and all that stuff. But I do have that passion inside to me. So when I see art, I'm a little picky because of that, but with my art, I'm way picky, and like I don't show anything of my stuff unless I think it's like, okay, I might be able to show that.
You should try drawing sketch cards, especially for Upperdeck or TOPPS. And once that line is on that card, you're committed. There ain't no going back from that. And it's terrifying that you're just like, oh, I just totally screwed that up. How am I ever going to fix this? And so then you got to learn how to fix stuff. But it's you're committed on that. Once it's done, it's done. Some of my buddies in the comic book industry, they're all using Photoshop and their tablets and all of that. And they can go back and they can correct it and they can do this and they can work it again and work it again. And just like, you know what, in sketch cards, you just got to do it. But, thinking about, drawing since middle school, and then also at the same time, thinking about how you say that we don't get paid all that much to do these cards. I would be doing this anyway. So, when people go, why do you keep doing it? Like, why do you, we know they don't pay you what these things are worth, but yet you still do it. I would still be drawing even if I didn't work in the sketch card industry. So, for my free time, I would be doing something, so if I can get paid to do it, even though it's not a whole lot, but then I still get to meet people. I still get to show my art. I would do that anyway. So, that's one of the reasons that, we do that. And I think I speak for a lot of the artists that do this, is we would be drawing no matter what.
Yeah.
So, we're just fortunate that we have avenues that we can share our art with people and get feedback on it.
Well, I'm at least glad. I mean, they don't give you enough APs, I don't think, on sets, but I'm at least happy that they do give an ability to be able to make money on something that is card stock, official card stock, that a lot of us collectors like to have that official card stock, to be able to you know, have a character that we say, hey, can you draw me this, Michael? And you're able to draw that for a fee, and we're able to give that to you, and we're able to receive that great piece. And so I'm hoping that with these new sets coming out, you get more limelight, because I've seen a lot of your stuff that that others may not have seen. But please, let people know where we can find you and all that stuff after, before we leave today.
Oh yeah, of course.
But I will put in the notes on my YouTube channel when I do the edits later of the comments and everything. I'll put your links and all that stuff for you as well.
Great.
But for sure, a lot of your peers are in here.
I was reading some of them.
I know.
And it's just,
some of them aren't going to be repeated.
Yeah.
But
one of these days, Gordon Wills will learn how to draw circles. So as long as he keeps practicing, and as long as Gordon keeps working on his cards and practices his circles, he'll get there one day.
Yeah. I think I had a couple other questions, but I think I'm gonna just ask you with what you see currently right now. Is there anything that you would like? I don't know, what things would you like to change if you could with Upperdeck? If anything at all.
I know, because you're asking. I still want to get work from them. So, we constantly, and it's always been brought up about communication and talking to the artists and stuff. So part of me wants to say communication. It would be great to hear more feedback and to receive more feedback. But at the same time, I understand that they are dealing with however many artists all at the same time on multiple projects at the same time. And I can only imagine trying to keep all of that straight. So it's a catch-22. I can see it from both ends of it. In my real job, I have to manage. I have employees that I have to oversee and give work to and stuff like that.
Sure.
And that, that's just 12 of them. And that's a chore in itself. So I can just imagine trying to communicate and keep everybody up to date when there's 100 artists. So it's a challenge, but if one of the things would be, yes, I would prefer to receive a little bit more feedback from Upperdeck, especially when cards are submitted, and all you do is you just keep your fingers crossed.
Great.
And then, wait, and then wait. So
for sure.
But,
and I do want to, reiterate with what my thoughts are on a lot of these sketch card artists like Michael that have started 2017. We still have a lot of them. Just kind of, it's been great that you've gotten some work, but there's some peers of yours that just haven't been able to. But I think not just sketch cards, some of these artists like Michael, some of these artists would hands down be able to do original art sets, and they would be amazing. I know with you being one of the OG, I would call you an OG artist, because you are one that you take pride in what you do on paper, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people do digital stuff, and I'm not knocking digital stuff, but I'm just saying there's a lot more passion I feel in art on paper or canvas or however you want to say. And it would be just amazing to see some of these sketch card artists that we've seen recently and in the past be able to be on original art sets,
Yeah.
not
But
just
yeah, and
same old people.
that's not to say I don't work in Photoshop or I don't do stuff in
Yeah,
Photoshop.
no, for
Obviously
sure,
do.
for sure.
When it comes to and I've even dabbled a little bit with trying to figure out how can you incorporate Photoshop work into sketch cards.
Yeah.
So I've been playing around with that with some
Okay.
personal stuff. But
Yeah.
no, it is one of the things that I do enjoy is still the traditional feel of the tools and still working, staring at a blank piece of paper and having traditional tools, which you can see behind me. And, what can we come up with?
Yeah, and Perna made a pretty good point here. I feel because of the feedback part of it. I wish Upperdeck gave the artist the information backing why a card got rejected or whatnot, And I know it's not always Upperdeck. Sometimes they're like, oh, Marvel rejected that. Like, it's like, okay, well, what did they say? Like, where's the notes? Like, give me some tasting notes of what is going on,
And I can't speak for every sketch card artist, so I'm only going to talk for myself. In that, when I sit down to do a set, I want to create. Upperdeck says, okay, you're doing 30 cards for the set. I want to create 30 cards that the collectors want. I want 30 cards that a collector's going to get and say, this is cool. But at the same time, I know that I have certain guidelines that I have to work within to get them approved and into the collector's hands. So sometimes those worlds don't quite mesh. So to get some feedback of, hey, this doesn't fly for our part of it, but then I can work a little bit better with that to try to get the collectors what they want. But there's just some characters I just won't draw for an Upperdeck set because I know that chances are the way that they need to be rendered to stay to that character, that it probably won't get approved for various reasons.
Okay.
Ian brings up his Black Cat and how there's less and less Black Cat sketches and cards out in sets. And, there's a reason for that. And that we as artists are asked not to draw Black Cat as some people would see Black Cat being.
Sure. Well, I understand that too, for sure. And I know with some of the, characters that in the past and still currently they're on the do not draw list or whatever you want to call it, right? But I hope that, some of those I don't like I think Silver Surfer's still on the do not draw.
See, yeah, there was some talk and some of the people that have been working on Marvel sets before me, did the Fantastic Four and those characters come off the ban list at one point? I thought they did, and that there was a set or two that they were allowed on. But then the sets that I have been working on, they are clearly still not allowing us to draw them for whatever. And I'm sure that's all legal reasons and all that. But
well, I hope it's part of when Marvel Beginnings comes out. Marvel Beginnings is supposed to have all the Fantastic Four in it. I don't know if you know that, but Marvel Beginnings was supposed to be the set that brought some of those characters back. But the question bears in mind, once they're on the cards of Upperdeck, can they be on a sketch card? And that's where we don't know yet because the set hasn't been released yet.
Yeah.
And so, but I'm hoping.
No, I would love to. I would love to be able to work on a set that the Fantastic Four and their characters were allowed on. there was, I think it was Masterpiece or Premiere, doesn't matter. Anyway, I was doing some rough sketches and putting my character list together. And I was like, oh, I haven't done Mole Man. That would be really cool to do a Mole Man card. And then I started the sketch of it and I was like, let me double check. And went back to the list and yeah, there he was. No, do not draw.
Do not draw.
So I was just like, there is a lot of characters that, you know, I would love to be able to dive into and be able to.
Yeah, the new Marvel annual does have Silver Surfer.
Oh, it does.
Yes.
Oh.
It does have you know, Doctor Doom. It does have I think Mr. Fantastic's in there. Thing is in there. Invisible Woman's in there. So Perna Andre, you are correct in the fact that they are coming in. So once Beginnings comes in, I'm hoping they're just going to be able to lift that. I mean, one of my favorite characters that I haven't been able to collect recently is Nightcrawler. Nightcrawler is on the do not draw or do. They're on the ban list actually from the cards too. Not being on cards, but that's one that I'm looking forward to. So, but have I told you that I mainly collect Wolverine, Michael?
No.
Okay.
No.
So I'm a Wolverine card collector, character collector, you would call it. And that's kind of where where I have a lot of different cards I'll grade and all that stuff that aren't actually Wolverine. And I tend to fuel my hobby with the hobby. So I try to
that's
sell those cards and be able to get the Wolverine cards that are lots of money, you know, because that's how it is. But I don't have a lot of sketch cards. The only sketch card I have from 2018 Masterpieces is this one here. And so that's another
that you have for sale on eBay right now. If you
no, it's not on eBay anymore. I actually took it down a while back. But what I was saying is I've actually just recently been kind of contemplating collecting a sketch card from every set of Wolverine. Like just that, and I have quite a bit for one from each set. So I think with that being said, I could probably do that. And so I think yours would be the one from 2018. So
well, thank you.
Did I freeze up?
You did. You
okay,
froze.
Sorry about that.
At least you were smiling. It wasn't like an embarrassing freeze. So.
All right, there's a couple other questions and then we can end it because I know it's late for where you're at. So my nephew's asking a question. This Sean Schubert is actually Kellen.
So it'll actually be clean as opposed to many of the other questions.
Yeah, I've been ignoring some of this.
Yeah, okay, good.
Other ones. He said, "What's your favorite hobby if you have one?" I would say drawing, but I don't.
Well,
that's kind of like both. It's not really a hobby if you're getting.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a hobby or is it not a hobby. So I would say that my other passion is professional wrestling.
Okay.
And if I need to step,
who was your favorite wrestler?
If I need to step out of the studio and take a break or something, it'll be let's put some wrestling on. Watch some wrestling.
Okay, that's cool. Now, back to WWF days with Bret the Hitman Hart and the Warrior.
Way back. So I'm old. I am an old man, so I can readily admit that my college roommate and I actually were at WrestleMania 1.
Oh, wow.
So it goes that far back.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I actually was a fan of WWF. I actually had figurines that I'd wrestle with my buddies, and I almost went to a WWF match one time, and I was sick and I wasn't able to, and I didn't ever go. But big passionate about that.
Yeah,
I played
yeah,
the video games and all that when I was a
yeah.
kid too.
And then my oldest son caught that bug. And to this day, he and I will still go to live matches. So
Oh, nice.
yeah, no, we have
Okay.
a good time doing that.
So that's good. So that's a hobby,
Yeah,
definitely.
there you go. That's a hobby
So
then.
a great one. They're teasing me about your shirts, but I actually think they're cool.
Oh, well, thank you very much. There,
Um,
you know, there's a lot of disparaging remarks made to me about my shirts
I know.
from family members and
Oh,
from
oh
my fellow
gosh.
artists.
Okay.
So I believe that I just have to continue to do it since it irritates everybody so much.
I
for
should have
whatever
just
reason.
worn one of my shirt and
I don't
ties and
I
just,
don't understand if you want to look good. This video is going to be on YouTube for who knows how long.
that's right.
You never know who's, I would think that you would want to look good for it. So
Exactly.
I know. So I
Appreciate
don't
you
know.
dressing for the occasion, Michael.
Yeah, well, thank you.
Okay, well, hey, if you would, Michael, could you let everybody know where we can find you?
Sure. So on Instagram, I am Art of M2. So that's the number 2. On Facebook, I am Michael Munshaw. On eBay, I have a small eBay store with stuff that's for sale up there, and that is Art of M2 is the store on eBay. So Instagram, Facebook, those are the ones to really get a hold of me. I have a website, artofm2.com, but I haven't had time to update that thing in quite a while. But you can go there. There's some old stuff there, but it does have a link to email me if you wanted to reach out and contact me. You can contact me there as well. But usually Instagram, Facebook, those are the fastest ones to get a hold of me.
Okay. Now, have you ever done like a video, just a quick reel or anything like that on drawing some fast sketch?
No, I haven't. I thought about that, and so here's the embarrassing thing.
Okay.
With my eyesight and working on a 2.5 by 3.5 inch card, half the time the card is like right up here. So if I ever did a video of me drawing a card, I don't know what you would actually see besides the back of my head as I'm like getting up into it and then cursing Tony Perna that he can get so much detail in his cards and I can't do that to mine because I can barely see what's going on in my card.
Yeah.
So I know sometimes I will do live streams. That was something that we've just recently talked about with Jay and Dre.
Yeah.
We were doing live streams. They were doing it much more than me, that's for sure, during COVID. But it's something we've gotten away from where we would just all log in at the same time and then just start drawing and shooting the you know what. And so, maybe we'll get back to that. Maybe we'll do some more of that.
Yeah, no, I look forward to that, and appreciate you, Michael, for coming on.
No, thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate it. As you said that we're seeing more and more collectors come into here. And obviously I haven't been on a Marvel set in a couple of years, but I got a number of them coming up. So I'm looking forward to meeting new people. And I just really appreciate you giving me the time to say hello to everybody.
Exactly. No, I appreciate you. And look out for those sets that are coming up, guys. You see Michael Munshaw, you can come back to this video and then you can be like, wow, I can reach out to him and get an AP.
There you go.
Exactly.
Exactly. I can't wait for the sets to come out.
I know.
Then I can say I have APs.
What's funny is Michael is one of the the guys that actually follow the rules, because there are cards out there that I've seen and they're drawn on and they're APs of cards that aren't even out yet. So I commend you for your loyalty.
Thank you. I at this point, I still want to do work for Upperdeck and Fanatics / TOPPS.
Yeah.
I still want to play in these areas that they have with their properties.
Sure.
So to me, it's pretty brainless. You just follow the rules and hopefully they will still keep sending you invites to be parts of their sets.
Yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, and I appreciate you. And we'll just end it there, unless anybody else has any questions. And I think all the guys that have been asking you
Yeah.
questions are just your peers,
Yeah.
ragging you a bit.
And I'll hear about it tomorrow too, as well, I'm sure.
Tony, reach out to me. You gotta get on the show too. I think.
Oh, and Tony, no, it's not metal; it's plastic. I'm very sorry about that.
Oh, the shield in the back.
The local comic shop, the guy that I knew, was going out of business, and he was just selling everything. And so I grabbed the cap shield off of his wall. But
Nice.
it's just plastic. Sorry, buddy.
All right. Well, guys, we'll see you later. And hey, go ahead and go to his Instagram and follow Michael MUNSHAW. Looks like my buddy Ken has already followed you
Awesome.
with this, so that's awesome. So
Well, thank you very much for that follow.
okay, guys, we'll talk to you later. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks, Josh. Have a great night.